Yeah, come on. We got pages here. Keep them heads bobbing. Keep those heads ringing. Oh, that song. That's what's up. Yeah, there we go.
Showing your age with that song.
Keep the heads ringing, you know? Ring, ding, dong.
It's a good
Ring a ding, 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 dong.
It's Dr. Dre, right?
All right. All right. All right. Really good to see you guys, all of you, for sure. Especially, where we were from last week to this week. Damn, a lot's happened. And we know to control what we can control. And for right now, right, our time together, nothing else matters. Nothing else. Right here. This is the tribe. This is the family. This is the bubble that we're in. And so the outside world and the noise, as best we can, we're gonna, disconnect, unplug, and be right here to rock and roll, and get after this thing. So Alexis, whenever you're ready to throw the screen on, we're ready to rock and roll with these guys. They look like they're ready to go.
No, right? Good to see everybody.
Hell yeah.
Here we go.
Really good to see everybody.
And Keith is on here again for like last time. So we'll tap into Keith in a little while. All right, you can see my screen, Eric?
Yeah, sure can.
All right, 13th January. All right, so welcome back, everybody. We're doing the 5 rules today. And some of you guys might have seen Eric's work with the PLL Chrome team, where we had like a little preview of the 5 rules that kind of went online and got a little bit viral. But today we are going to tap into that video and actually go into it a little bit more in depth, and where they come from. So with that, we're going to do the quick rundown like last time. We're going to talk about our bios a little bit, like a little beyond the bio, and show some pictures and stuff. Making the mindset, we talked a little bit again last time, but we're going to go into it in a different angle today. Preparing for calmness or for chaos, how we prepare for chaos. Battle drills, what the heck they are, and some fundamentals. The 5 rules themselves, and then some Q&A. A little piece of this one tonight. We're going to engage with you guys based on how things went last week. We've tweaked how we usually approach this idea of the 5 rules and like really instilling these principles. We want to talk a little bit more, get you guys talking a little bit more. So be ready that as we go a little further into this, that we are going to engage with you guys with breakouts. We know that you guys have lacked being able to see each other and learn from each other and like learn more about who each other are beyond like being in helmets now and then. So we're going to give you guys a chance to do that based on that input we got last week. Just reiterating, from last week, being able to see everyone's reactions to the presentation, the footage, the messaging that we had last week, that you can tell now that this is a training experience. And today is just part 2 of 4 parts of this experience. So obviously week 1 had its purpose to kind of inspire and motivate and get us all on the same page and kind of talking about this first platoon versus second platoon kind of culture and how that becomes something that we can really use to measure how we're contributing to the team. So today is just step 2 in this 4 parts, and this is a training path that you are experiencing, even though it's on Zoom. Discomfort. Some of us had some discomfort maybe last week and feeling a little bit of vulnerability, but like I said last week, discomfort means that you're hitting a new threshold, just like lifting, just like some of the other things that we do in life where we're like, getting to the next level of something. This is that point where vulnerability meets interconnection. So it delivers on those 2 conditions: intense vulnerability, that feeling that we have, and the deep interconnectedness. We had a great call with Coach today, where we got to learn something a little bit different from what I think we remembered, that Eric and I remembered before about this, culture statement. And it was that you guys came up with this, and the ownership that's coming out of the actions that you guys put toward each other and toward developing a legacy. So we serve together, we grow together, we win together, coming from the very guys that are on this call. Just wanted to let you know how much we appreciate that and are impressed by that. And in the end, we're here to empower and activate your legacy here. So with all the work, we have all these times that through the past few months, all the way from March, really, is like these times that we all get that are kind of like, what's the point? Well, the point is that this culture is alive and breathing every day with every contribution we make, with every negative statement that's made is there, but like every aspect of somebody like reaching over and lifting up that person is another thing that we can do to empower and activate that legacy. So, first platoon, second platoon. We're going to give you guys a chance for some interaction here. So we want to hear from you now. We've got that first platoon mentality lined up here. Like Eric, I always have fun saying this part, but balls deep. We're going to go in. We're going to go in full throttle here. We're going to be wanting to be in the fight. Full of seasoned and hardened leadership, people who've been tested and initiated, that high retention rate, that high morale, pit bull kind of swagger, and that it's cool to care about each other as well, to care about the task at hand and to care about each other. That second platoon mentality or lack thereof, that platoon, there is no motto. So we're going to give you guys a chance tonight to like even share some things you've been maybe throwing around yourselves. Maybe you pull from that culture statement. The leadership that we've got just experienced and trained leaders, that's fine. I hate the Army. Are we done yet? Some of the things I mentioned already is like, what's the point? What's the point of working out? What's the point in giving this, extra text? And when are we leaving? So if anybody, I'm going to put on the participants list. And what happens here is if you guys can use this little tool here that's raise hand. Eric, is it still in the participants thing? Is it somewhere else now? Where you can raise your hand and share?
Under reactions. So on the bottom of the Zoom screen, it says record, breakout rooms, participants, etc. You go to reactions, put your cursor on that. You'd be able to raise your hands, clap, thumbs up, give a heart. We love you too. Those sorts of things. So you can raise your hand there at any time to be called on.
Yeah, so if you have something to share for like any mottos that you guys have rolling around the locker, well, I know it's not a locker room, but your group texts, share those. Like share those little statements that you've been throwing around or have always thrown around for each other. That 12R is, I guess, is an obvious one. All right, we got Brian. Yeah, hop off mute, Brian. You can share.
I know one thing, like I know in our like culture statement, like together against all, I know that's kind of like a big thing just because for me personally, it's like we're in Ada, we're kind of like secluded from the world. Nobody really knows about us or cares about us, but we're just kind of together and it's all of us against everyone else. And all that matters is our group and what we're doing.
That's awesome. I like hearing from you too with that because there are things that we have gathered up about you guys, but hearing it straight from you, like, hey, we're out in the middle of nowhere, no one cares about us, but like we have this together against all mentality. I see Christopher, you have your hand up. You want to hop on off mute?
Yeah, I was saying like, we win together, we lose together, we always help each other out. So even if that's on the field, off the field, everything we do, like we do it together.
Awesome. How about you, John Mullen?
Another thing that we try to instill is like the saying of well done's better than well said. Kind of like you can talk about achieving all of these goals, but you just got to actually go out and do them instead of talking about them.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. Really good points.
Very good point. There's time to talk and there's time to take decisive action and get on with the show.
What else we got here? Did Christopher, you had another one? Or is that still your hand up from last time?
It was still my hand up from last time.
Okay, got it.
Don't lie. Go Bama, roll Tide. You want to say it. I hear you.
Yeah, roll Tide.
That's good. I know Keith's got a fan with you too.
Yeah, he's got a shirt on right now. All right, so we'll hop over back into this presentation, and Eric, I'll hand off to you from here since we got some real goodness from the crew tonight.
Yeah, I mean, so you guys are living and breathing this, and so we're gonna say some of the same things over again because repetition is important, and you to absorb these things is important. And I also know last week super intense, super, super intense, and not everything is heard necessarily. So again, our job and what we want to do is to empower and activate your whole team. We want to show you the tools and the skills and the ways forward on this path. And so part of that is demystifying some of these big heroic creatures that we kind of make up in our minds or we see on the movie screen. I'm going to say this again because I think it's really important. Heroism isn't some mysterious inner virtue. It's a collection of skills that every man and woman can master so that in a pinch, they can become a protector. That is a really powerful, empowering statement when you think about how to break it down and you understand it's just a collection of being capable. It's a collection of being aware and paying attention to yourself and to the world around you so that when that time comes to act, you can act and you can act decisively. It's as simple as the ground ball being in front of you and you knowing how to scoop it up. If you don't have that skill of how to hold a stick and scoop a ground ball, well, you're pretty useless to the team. So we want to give you the skills and the knowledge and the power. You can act. And so you can protect yourself, you can protect your team, you can protect the legacy of your team. Okay. We also learned what a true believer is, and that for every hero out there, there's also a true believer sitting out there. And a true believer, I promise you, is sitting there waiting. The true believer right there, your opponent, is also training. They're also getting it on. And I'll say this again, because I think words matter, and this carries a lot of weight when you measure how do you want to prepare yourself versus who's preparing to meet you. And somewhere, a true believer is training to kill you. He is training with minimum food or water in austere conditions day and night. The only thing clean on him is his weapon. He doesn't worry about what workout to do. His rucksack weighs what it weighs, and he runs until the enemy stops chasing him. The true believer doesn't care how hard it is. He knows either he wins or he dies. He doesn't go home at 1700. He is home. He only knows the cause. Now who wants to quit? I submit to you guys, to the Polar Bear tribe, that you all are true believers. You all are training in an austere condition outside the lights and outside the glory. So when it's time for you to step on the field, practice field or game field, conference or NCAA championship, that you guys prepared yourselves just like this so that when you meet your opponent, they have the fear of God in them.
So handing back off to me after such a great rousing start there. Just wanted to talk a little bit about our group and where we come from outside of our bios. So I played college lacrosse. I think I mentioned that last time. I played at Richmond, big Philly area lacrosse upbringing. Have a daughter who plays now. I also surf. I was a CrossFit coach. I still play. That's me playing with the boys for the Shootout for Soldiers with Team RWB, and really got to get after it there. That's my sweet spot. Is the first place I started playing was with a team of boys. And we also spoke at LaxCon last year. I know that Coach Nat is speaking this weekend at LaxCon again. They're so lucky. We are also lucky to have him. And Eric, obviously, he's got 2 kids. That's his daughter, Mia. Our kids are friends. He's also been, obviously, like a Shootout for Soldiers like last time, and spent some time at U.S. Lacrosse as well. Do you have anything to add here, Eric?
No, I'm not here.
Yeah. So, and we just like to add that our message, our enthusiasm for teams and sports and culture, it's around the world. It's global, So when we were learning about the PLL starting, we just saw the magic in that. We were in Japan for the events there for the World Lacrosse Games last year, and we've done some stuff with Daytona and the IMSA races there, and it was a 24-hour race there that we got to be in the pits for. So lots of high octane, passionate people that we like to be around, just like you guys.
Sharing a little bit more about what lacrosse means to me and what it means to the greater community, and really what it means as a healing sport, I think is important. And I just spend some time on this stuff because you guys are playing 4 short years of lacrosse. And I also want to let you know that this is a sport, a community, a bond, and a brotherhood that can and should carry you for a lifetime. It's nothing against your high school boys and back home, and it's nothing against your future brothers, but what you all have gone through in this 4 years and what you're going to continue to go through is special. And it's a bond that forges a lifetime. And that's something I knew but didn't internalize until you have time to reflect. And I shared last time in a video, talked about my buddy Ben Harrow and him getting blown up on a pressure plate IED. He stepped on an improvised bomb, a homemade bomb made of fertilizer, and it literally blew him in half. And through his sheer will to live and also being a lacrosse player, he persevered. And in one of his speeches, he gives credit for him being alive. His thoughts were of the Truxton locker room and what that Truxton locker room or West Point locker room, what it meant to him and the guys in there. When I heard that, he's lying there bleeding out on the desert floor and he's thinking about his family and he's thinking about his lacrosse locker room. Now that's a weight that sticks very, very heavy with me. And proof is in the middle picture, you see him holding a goalie stick. And if you look down in the middle of the picture, you'll notice 2 prosthetic legs, robotic legs there. And so he did step up literally and walk onto the lacrosse field again. And I played long pole defense and he played goalie. No shit. He actually had some kick saves in there and did well. We had a hell of a time. And I was playing in the shootout for soldiers. And I share that because the lacrosse, after you hang up the uniform, the community and brotherhood doesn't stop. And you'll have more opportunities to grow and to engage and be a part of this thing and this sport and this brotherhood. And so I just want to, it doesn't just end here. And so what's the point? Well, the point is a lifetime. And so how do we make the mindset? And making the mindset is this collection of experiences that has made me. There's a little Frito Bandito head bandana wearing kid, little baby right there. And so how did that little baby turn into that guy hanging on the side of a bongo truck in the middle of the night doing resupply in Afghanistan? So we're going to peel that back a little bit and talk about the mindset and talk about what lacrosse means to me yesterday, today, and tomorrow. And so again, I shared with you that I believe lacrosse is the little brother of war. And if you look at the Tewarton Award, that actually defines in Iroquois, I believe, little brother of war. The game prepared the men in the community to go do tribal warfare, or prepared boys and transitioned them into men. And that's a sport that carries a lot of spiritual energy. It carries a lot of power, and it carries the medicine game aspect from the indigenous people of America. And that is where I hold an enduring and a pedestal of respect that this game is a healing game and it is a medicine game. And if you're holding a stick or you're in that community, it's hard not to smile and it's hard not to be part of something special. And so I submit to you in my own journey, you always have a dichotomy, a balance, right? And so the little brother of war can prepare you to go do some things, but the medicine game can also heal you and heal your teammates. And so I offer that to you, that this is more than a sport, right? I'm living proof, and my friend Ben is living proof that this sport inspired us to be able to go do horrific things and live through it. Through the sport of lacrosse and through military training and engagement, this is how we prepare for chaos or for calmness, mission success, or mission failure. So you have here a chart, and on this chart, we are stepping up a ladder of stressful events from a military context. So from a military, Army, Airborne Ranger context, we go on a presence patrol, which means we're out walking in the street, looking, scanning, having a presence. Not very stressful, although you're in war, so things can go chaotic very quickly. Stepping up that stress. Now you have a target. You're going on a raid. You're going after a person or a place or a piece of equipment to go attack it. So you're picking the time, you're picking the place, you're picking the location, and you are the game on. Stress goes up because you know you're getting into a gunfight. You know you're going to go breach and get someone who's bad. And now let's go to the highest stakes game, a high value target, Osama bin Laden, Zarqawi, excuse me. You go after someone who doesn't want to be caught. Someone who hates you so much that they'll wear an explosive vest on their body to blow themselves up and you so they don't get caught. They'd rather die than get caught. So now how do you prepare yourself, your men, and your team to go against these odds, to go against a prepared defense, to go against someone who does not want to be taken alive? And their only job, their only goal in life is to make sure that you don't live. I submit to you that in that chaos and in that type of environment, if you're not trained, if you're not prepared, things could get out of hand very, very quickly. And things getting out of hand looks like in that world, chaos, looks like death, it looks like a lot of bad things. But we see there through training, through mental models, and through stress tools, and through energy management, the things that we're talking about and the things that we want to empower to you, that you can establish a new baseline. And you take that stress and it repurposes as good energy. You take that stress and it repurposes as fuel to get over the lactic acid in your legs or your body. You take that anxious energy and it turns it into like Thanos power. And you establish a new baseline. And you're calm, cool, and collected going into the third overtime sudden death face-off in the championship game because you know you've already won the game. That's how you prepare yourself. The preparation really matters. So now look at how does this relate to you? Because we're not going to combat and we don't have to worry about those sorts of things. But that doesn't mean stress doesn't exist in your world. We look at the timeline of 2020 through kind of now. COVID begins, lockdown begins, uncertainty ahead. And then we have this isolation, the election tension, this disgusting political thing. COVID continues, restrictions continue. Phase 3 of COVID lockdowns, like lunacy. Then we have holidays and the stress of holidays and what that's created and what the residual winter effects are, the loneliness. And now people realize like, this is what it is. So let's get back to work. And they put the workload back on everyone. And now there's new lockdowns, personal mental health. Like, what the hell are we doing? School's here. You want to chase the girls, but you can't see the girls because you're wearing a mask, all this effed up stuff, right? And so what does that mean? If you don't address any of those things and that stress ticks up and ticks up and ticks up, things get out of hand and you become unhealthy. Your teammates can become unhealthy. And what happens there? You lose a game. You lose the season. That negativity, that stress can come through and rear its ugly head in the locker room and beyond. But again, through training and through stress mitigation and introducing new mental models, you guys are going to learn how to perform under stress, how to take the environmental stress around you, repurpose it, channel it, and move forward. And what does the future look like? It looks like you guys are creating a fucking awesome legacy, a 12R legacy. People understands what it means to go 12 rounds in the ring with the Polar Bears, what it means to be a conference champion, what it means to be an NCAA champion, what the positive press means, because no one cares about you by your own admission. Hey, we're over here doing a thing. No one's looking at us. No one's watching us. Good. The underdog is a beautiful story because you're hungry and you're scrappy and culture is a team fight. And so you guys get this opportunity to build this massive juggernaut of a machine. So when you have the chance, you can strike. And that positive press, you guys get to sing your war song for the rest of your lives, that this is what we did this year, this season, because we fucking own it and control it. You grow that legacy. So what are the fundamentals, gentlemen? What are the fundamentals that, if you remember last week, talking about Sergeant Reyes and I, talking about Sangin province in Helmand, Afghanistan, talking about a hellacious day, a really hellacious day, still to this day, arguably one of my favorite days of my life, which is twisted to say, but in deep reflection, how much went right when it could have gone wrong and how proud I am of the men who fought that day and what we overcame is something that is just no words. That's an experience that I have, and it's an experience I want you all to have without the risk of losing your life. So peeling that back, the collection of skills that we talked about, these are the collection of skills that we learned that we brought to the table that day. This is the playbook. We have 8 battle drills. And what's a battle drill? A battle drill is your set plays. It's your man up play. It's your man down play. It's your Omaha play, it's your Nebraska play, it's your polar bear play, it's whatever your set play is. And it could be, that better be a face-off guy who has set plays off a face-off, right? You should give hand and arm signals to say, like, here's my set play for this. The goalie, he's quarterbacking the defense, right? There are set plays, things that, you know, when I go red and I'm hot, bam, here's my slide, here's my second slide, and here's recover. That's a battle drill, okay? And the more you know those battle drills, the more lethal you guys are. The more risk you all could assume because you all know your job. And more importantly, you know that the man to the left or to the right of you, they know their job too. So when you go leave to slide and you leave the MVP guy you're supposed to guard and shut down, you know that your man has your back. And you know when your man has your back, you can go execute with violence of action. That's empowerment. That's trust. That is something that's like, man, I tell you what, when I go attack someone else and I know someone's going to attack my backside, that's some good stuff. Every man on that field, every person should know their job, be able to do their job and do their job really well. The fundamentals for an infantryman, you shoot, you move, and you communicate. Everyone should be able to do that. And I submit to you, in a lacrosse team, everybody on that team on the bench is in that fight. Everybody can shoot, move, and communicate. Whether you're on the field or on the bench, you can still communicate. You can still move. You can still call out plays, right? A ravenous, hungry bench is an energy source and an X factor that most teams don't ever look at. It's always looking at, hey, who's on the field? Who are my starters? Bullshit. The whole team's in a fight. Culture is a team fight. All dogs on a bite. Shoot, move, and communicate, gentlemen. From the bench to the locker room to the game, you can do it. So we ask you, I'll turn it over to Alexis here, but we ask you, right, take a second. And as you're going through your thoughts, the battle drill isn't, hey, it's only my set play on the field. Your battle drill is, how do you wake up? How do you prepare yourself for the day, right? How do you get yourself out of bed, right? Are you meditating? Are you stretching? Are you journaling? Are you drinking water? Or are you doing something different? So, Alexis?
Yeah, it's just you just said it. I think we just want you guys to reflect for a minute, like write down if you got it, notepad, or like put in your notes on your phone. What are some battle drills that you have? Like wake up, brush my teeth. You know, battle things you can do without thinking much. It's just on automatic mode, especially when this year we've been kind of thrown off of our normal routines a lot. So I just want to give you a second to do that.
And you know, I'm just going to add, because I can't be quiet at this moment. What are your battle drills, or what do you want your battle drills to be? And I guess is another way to open it up for you. And so what that means is, you know, okay, so starting tomorrow, I'm going to get up at, 20 minutes earlier. Starting on Friday, I'm going to start getting up and doing 20 minutes of stretching and 10 minutes of journaling and 20 minutes of meditation, right? What are your battle drills now? What do you want your new battle drills to be? So when you step into the world, it's game time. It's game time.
Like I text my teammates every time I do wall ball, just to bring the group into your battle drill.
Right? Practice. I can't tell you how many times we go from a shooting position to a mag change to a transition to our secondary weapon. The muscle memory associated with those sorts of moves, with ground balls, with wall balls, is in thousands, right? Tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands.
So this one is a little bit more of a reflective. We'll go into this again, and also this is going to be in your guidebook for you guys to have. Just wanted to give you time to think about those things.
All right, the glorious 5 rules, the crux of where we are for today. Don't know if you all saw any of the PLL videos. Doesn't matter if you did or didn't, because here we are today. And so we're going to look at the genesis of what I call the 5 rules, 5 principles, and I want to share them with you in this group. But we're going to see them in its raw, rare form here.
Second half of the season starts today. I brought these guys in, guys who exemplify what it means to be great peer leaders, leadership through adversity. This is Captain Ben Harrow. He's a Special Forces Green Beret. We got Eric Minio, 2 leader in the 75th Ranger Regiment, retired as a major.
If I can distill a lot of warfare, and a lot of combat, and a lot of hellish days,
5 simple things. Number 1, everything is your responsibility. Number 2, save who needs to be saved. 3, you kill who needs to be killed. Number 4, this is really special. No one is coming to save you, gentlemen. 5, always be working. It's what the Native Americans did. It was what it was forced to prepare for war, prepare young men to get after it, to do this battle. It prepared he and I to go overseas and take it to the enemy, come back. For him to be, should be dead, alive. This sport, the ambassadors right here I'm talking to, this is a sport that we love. We came to watch you guys go get after it.
I learned a lot of lessons as a lacrosse player, and one of those lessons was find comfort in discomfort. All right, that's a lesson that I learned as a defensive midi, and I took that later on through this Ranger School, Special Forces qualification course, and even to Iraq and Afghanistan, especially the day that I got injured. Because when I stepped on that bomb, I knew it was my responsibility to stay alive, bleeding out on the desert floor, and my teammates are going to come get me. So it's your own responsibility to do what you need to do for your teammates to your left and right, because together, that's how you win a game. And together, that's how I came back alive, all right? So let's get a W today.
For Chrome 1911, their first win of the season snaps a 5-game losing streak, and their first win of the season snaps a 4-game winning streak for Chaos.
So I think some of you guys couldn't hear audio. I'm not sure what happened. If that was on me or if it was on you guys. I just basically turned up my volume more. But if a lot of you guys, I can see you in the chat. If we need to watch it again, I can play it again. If you want to give a thumbs up, I can play it again, or we can just move on. If you want to, give me a signal for that. We're good to go. Okay, so it looks like we're good to go. Eric, are you cool? All right. So we just wanted to bring these principles to you guys because, as strong as a polar bear, as strong as a crew is, as strong as a human being is, you're not infallible. Shit goes wrong. Sometimes a lot of things can go wrong at the same time. Sometimes you have a really tough baseline you're starting with, which is like COVID right now. Like, we aren't even seeing each other right now. How are we supposed to become a team and gel together? So when we can bring together some of these, this mindset of persevering and developing this resilience in real form, in real time, we can see that, like, even when you're knocked down, you can still have a ferocity to the way that you gather yourselves up together and fight that cultural team fight.
Guys, this is where the rules originated from. In training, my guys went to a shooting school, and they came back. They started rattling off what they learned and some rules. And I heard this, and I heard the genesis of where these rules came from and the principles in which they guided to and from and by. Very powerful, very empowering when you break it down and think about it. Before I get into how I view them and what they mean to me, what they mean to us, we're going to take a minute. We're going to get into some breakout rooms, and we're going to take a screenshot, write the rules down, just take a second. But I want you all, we're going to break into small groups, somewhere between 8 and 10 groups. You'll take 10 minutes as a group. Everyone participates. Everyone says what rule resonates with them the most as a group and why. What rule resonates the most and why. It could be in relation to where you were last year to where you are this year. It could be to like where you are today, what you're looking forward to in the future, but what these rules mean to you in your words. We want to hear from your words in your voices. Alexis, did I miss anything there?
Yeah, the only thing I want to give a heads up on is that we've got, I mentioned that Keith is on with us. That's one of our teammates. And also Chris, he's on here too. Eric, I don't know if you saw him, but just wanted to give you guys a heads up that we may have some of you guys just like listening in, okay? Here we go. It's going to kind of auto-populate and put you guys in a specific room, okay?
Before we break out, so if myself or Alexis or Keith, like if one of our teammates are in your room, just carry on. We could chat, but this is exercise for you guys. So don't worry about us being there or watching or thinking, and just carry on. Okay. Good conversations. I heard a little bit of the group that I was plugged into as I was doing some other things, and damn. So in a great way. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a round 2 of this. Cause I think it was really the conversations and like what it means. I heard some really inspiring things. And so let's take another couple minutes. Let's take maybe 6 or 7 minutes this time, a little less. We're going to break out in the rooms again, discuss what these rules mean to you as an individual, as a team, as a teammate, and how it relates to, moving forward and what you want the season to be. So we'll break out again into the rooms. And then when we come back, we'd like to have one person from each group. Doesn't matter if you're on the leadership council, if you're a captain, if you're a freshman, doesn't that matter. You feel the passion and inspiration to talk about and share. That's what we want. So if each group comes back, put the hands up and everyone just kind of go down the line and just talk for, 30 seconds, 60 seconds, a minute or so, what it means to you. Okay. So any questions with that? I think that's pretty straight. Yeah. Okay, cool. All right. Godspeed, farewell.
And that just resonated really well with me.
Yeah, 5 stuck out to me because like Coach says, we're always working, striving to be better than we are, and we're always pushing each other to be better.
Number 1 stuck out to me because like nobody can do my rehab for me. It's all about me doing what I got to do to get back on the field.
I like everything is your responsibility because I feel like there's no excuses for if you mess up or if something's your fault. You just got to do whatever you need to do.
Yeah, I like number 5. Always be working. You can't have that mentality that you're already at like your top tier. You can always get better, and that mentality of practice. We all bust. Side of it, but
I guess I meant just more so like from like, is there a rule that they like that resonate more?
oh well, I talked about rule number 1 where someone asked like they thought rule number 1 and number 3 kind of contradicted with each other, and I sort of interpret it as number 1 is more of a mentality where if you're down and you need help, don't expect someone else to do it for you, whereas number 3 is don't leave your teammates out to dry. Don't abandon your your squad mates, your teammates, your fellow soldiers. So that's why I kind of interpreted number 1 as more of a mentality. Number 3 is an action or a lifestyle.
Okay. Yeah, Cole, I agree with what you said. I know in my last breakout room I talked about number 3, like saving needs to be saved. I think I felt that holding each other accountable on and off the field, and also having each other's backs, like making that hustle play on the field, like someone drops a pass, we're hustling to get that ground ball, and off the field, like holding each other accountable with like academics and just staying out of trouble.
Going off of what Duffy said, I really think rule number 3 helps with that accountability and just keeping, everybody on track. And even like, if your stick's down a little bit in line, like just telling that guy to put your stick back up, or body language or anything like that. Rule number 3 definitely helps with that. And especially even like in the game of lacrosse, like this is a team sport. Like nobody can play lacrosse by themselves. And so being there for your teammates is like what lacrosse is all about.
All right, if anybody needs a break or breather, take it now because they got about 40 seconds before some of these guys are closing up. Some of the groups had gone into kind of depth, so get a stretch, get some water, all that good stuff.
I may have heard the best possible quote ever in my group. So I don't know what you guys did in your group, but our shit was shit hot. So we got that going. Someone quoted, I don't know if I think it was TJ. I don't know if it was TJ. I don't know if I caught your name at the bottom of it, but he quoted, and I think we talk about it next week. My boy, he's a Greek poet and philosopher. My boy, Archilochus. That's how you say his name, Archilochus. and the quote, I'll see if I can get it from memory, is, "We don't rise to the level of our expectations. We fall to the level of our training." I'll say that again. We don't rise to the level of our expectations. We fall to the level of our training. And so what that means is, in my mind, if I think I can do X, Y, and Z, I can run a 4-minute 1 mile, but I don't ever run. Well, my expectations may be a 4-minute mile, but my training says it's a 15-minute mile on a Segway. You could take that analogy and apply it to war, which is where it comes from and how we talk about it. So if you're not prepared for that day, you don't come home. So, but anyway, that quote means a lot, and we talk about that quote a lot. So that's spot on. You guys said that, hear that, and that's at least in your vernacular.
I'll pop in real quick too to say we had a good quote in the last group I jumped in on. I jumped in a couple groups. I forget what number it was, but saying that, like, really just plainly, lacrosse is a team sport. You can't play lacrosse alone. So like needing your teammates is a big deal. So I'm glad we're working on it. For now, I'm gonna hop back in the presentation and share my screen again. Give me 1 sec. And I'll hit play. All right.
All right. So, member from each group, we didn't take notes to see like, oh, who's in group 1, 2, 3, or 4. So it's on you to be, forthcoming. And so, just throw your hands up, raise your hands, and we'll just go kind of down the list and, share with what resonated and why, and really share. If it goes more than a minute, that's fine. Because we're here to soak this stuff up.
Yeah, we got one from Joe already. Let's hear Joe.
Hey, so I'm from group 1, and we hit everything, but I wanted to talk about a couple things that I thought really stood out when we were having our discussion. One of our group members, Matt Huizenga, he talked about how rule 1 and 3 really stood out to him, and like nobody's coming to save you. Like he put it as like we're a part of a team, but at the end of the day, like, and some other guys added this discussion too, but at the end of the day, like you're competing, like if you're running a 300 at practice, it's you like it's all you in your head mentally, and like that's how you need to be able to like find that within yourself. It's just you. And then also for number 3, it's just like as a team you have save who needs to be saved. You have the team to help you. But I think if you put those two rules together, that you can pretty much be unstoppable. Because if you're able to you have the ability to save yourself mentally, and you have the team as a safety as well. Like if that's how you want to think of it, then there's really nothing that can stop you.
That's awesome. This is really great. I love that the team is getting a chance to talk and learn from each other as well. Next on my list here, I've got Kevin Giles.
Yeah. I'm from group 7, and we kind of talked about similar things in both of my groups, but in group 7, a lot of people really talked about how rule number 2, everything is responsibility, really stood out for them. One of our group members, Ben, mentioned that like at the end of the day after practice, like grabbing the ball bucket, that's your responsibility. Don't like wait for somebody else, or like putting the goals out before practice. And what really stood out for me was rule number 1, nobody's coming to save you, and how that kind of defaults to, if nobody's coming to save you, then everything is your responsibility. I think those were the things that really stood out for me.
Awesome. Thanks so much for sharing, and everyone in the group as well. Bradley, how about you?
Yeah, so I'm from group 5, and we also said number 2 kind of stood out to all of us. Like you can kind of like correlate all 5 rules into like number 2, like no one's gonna save you. Like in like life, like if you screw up or something, like that's your responsibility. You got to take responsibility. Save who needs to be saved. Like in life, you're gonna have to make sacrifices. Like maybe you have to cut away a friend, like to kind of move up in life, and then kill who needs to be killed. Like you got to take responsibility and do the dirty work, and then always be working. Like it's your responsibility to know, like hit the wall, go out on the field, get some extra reps in, hit the weight room. So 2 was kind of like our group's main thing, and CJ in our group said like it's life, like in life it's your responsibility in life to take action. And so yeah.
Really awesome. Like I love everyone's take on this and like applying it to practice and what you see from the locker room to the field to off the field. Hayden, I have you on my screen next. And then Cameron.
Yeah, I'm from room 3. We want to talk about save who needs to be saved. We thought for our team that could be like being your brother's keeper, holding everyone accountable, and like anyone can be a leader. And then also kill who needs to be killed. We thought that could be like kind of us versus everyone, and like game day mentality, like it's just killer mentality, time to go win.
Love that. Love that a lot. And we usually say like for people especially like who have a little bit more of a, non-sport where we're like really going to go after somebody, we say like kill what needs to be killed. And some of the other groups that alluded to that stuff too, like kill the bad relationships and stuff like that. Cameron, I have you, and then we're going to do Carson and Joe.
So I was from group 6, and we kind of talked about similarly with what Brad said, is like how all rules kind of go together and kind of play off each other. So like with your responsibility, whether it's, and I guess we'll start with number 1, like nobody's coming to save you, where it's like on the field, if you're looking and there's a ground ball rolling across in front of you, you can't be like, oh, like my teammate, he'll get that. Like he'll help get that. Like you got to take responsibility and kind of, oh no, to be like, I'm going to get that ground ball. And that kind of goes with number 2 as well. And then save who needs to be saved. Like we were thinking of it more of like, if your teammate's having a down day or something, he's like, something's just going wrong for him. Like you can be there to pick him up. And like, that's kind of what our culture is kind of based off of, just being there for each other. And so that's a big rule, I feel like, with relating to our team.
Awesome.
And like kill who needs to be killed is like when we go out and play like a game, like they're not going to lose the game for us. Like we got to take it our responsibility and put all effort in to try and like win that game and like dominate that game. And they're not just going to hand it to us. Like we have to go out there and earn it. Awesome. And then with working, it's like taking it under your responsibility and your ownership to motivate yourself, and not having someone else have to push you and have to kind of get you into that. You want to do it yourself to make the team better.
Awesome. I like the rundown. Carson, what do you have? And if you guys have gone already, pull your hand off, because I think that it's you have to like lower hand on your thing. So we have Cole. I think they're the last one. Oh wait, so I'm sorry, backing up. Sorry. Yeah. Carson, I think I told you were going next. My bad.
Yeah. So basically the one thing that I kind of noticed through both of our groups, I'm from group 2, but from both sessions, I noticed that not many people were really pointing out rule 5 as a specific. And I think rule 5 is really important because it kind of, at least the way I look at it, it kind of checks off a mark for each of the other 4 rules. I think that if you look at, rule number 1, no one's coming to save you. If you're always working, right, you're always improving, trying to get better, you're going to have that no one is coming to save me kind of mentality, and you're going to be able to get the job done for yourself. And then if you go on to number 2, again, you're always working and getting better. You're going to be trained so that in a game situation, you're going to take responsibility, for example, for that ground ball, or as me being a goalie, I'm going to make that save. It's going to be on me, and I'm going to take responsibility for that, and I'm going to do it. But then you look at rules 3 and 4, you're putting in the work in the practice field, you're paying attention in film. You're going to know in a game situation when your buddy's down, right? His head's down, his body language is off. You're going to know when you need to pick your teammate up, and then you're going to know when you need to slide and kill that man who's coming to the goal. And you're going to know how to do it right and not get a penalty for it, but also protect your team and protect your goal. And I think that number 5 rule just kind of encompasses all of them.
That's great. I love that goalie mentality too. It's just different thinker. Okay, Cole, we're back to you. Here we go.
So I was group 4. We started out with number 2, where everything is your responsibility. And when we talked about it, we sort of agreed on that everything is also your teammates. So that moves down to number 3, where it's safe who needs to be saved. You know, you're holding each other accountable. But on the same page, you're not waiting for someone to do your work for you. So that we'll get back up to rule number 1. So you're holding each other accountable, you're being there for one another, but you're not expecting someone else to do your work for you.
That's awesome. Really fun. I mean, hearing from you guys is so inspiring for me. Like, it lights, I know Eric is probably the same. We're not in this, we're in the same house, but we're not in the same room, but I know he's probably bubbling up if I could see his screen. So thank you guys. Your input on these is really going to continue to collectively become part of your culture, or however you want to implement these. Next up, we're going to go through Eric's, how he learned these points, and they're actually in slightly different order than this, because they're more in the order that he kind of has it memorized in his mind. So with that, I'll hand it over to you, Eric.
You guys are fired up, man. You hit the magic of these rules, okay? And the magic of these rules is that it's an all-encompassing thing. And the nature where these rules come from, they come from a shoot house. That it comes from, what that means is you're at a target's house, a bad guy's house, and you breach that door with explosives, and you forcibly enter that house. And just like you see in the movies with the guys in the stacks and they're going through the house very methodically, that is one of the most intense moments of anyone's life. Going room to room looking for a bad person when they're in there is just, there's a lot that goes on with that. And so taking a step back, how does someone process that? And how does someone process that relates to a team? And it's a small, decisive team. And so what you all captured without any clues or insights is you captured that, yes, it's all encompassing. And Carson, you talked about always be working. That rule is in there as a catch-all. That rule is in there, meaning if you're on target, you're in mission, you're working. You're never standing there saying like, hey, what should I do now, boss? Hey, team leader, squad leader, what should I do now? Like, you know your job and you know how to do your job. And you know, if you don't do your job, you're letting your teammates fail. And in that environment, that means someone dies. And that's not something I can live with. That's not something our teammates want to live with. So now making these rules relatable to the greater world, and I will share that I've shared these rules. I've had to tweak them a little bit to take them out of a violent, aggressive, like killing frame of mind and retool a little bit. So this is what we're going to talk about. Okay. And I also want to say, kill who needs to be killed or kill what needs to be killed. That's not an advocation for violence at all. That's not saying you should go punch someone or worse at all. You guys, I'll talk about it when I get there, but I just want to always say that, I'm not advocating for violence against another person here. Okay. So with that, everything is your responsibility. When you have that mindset, it's an empowering mindset that nothing's going past you. That your preparation and your 10,000 hours into your skill, into your craft allows you a place at the table. And at that table, you have to do more than that. So when you face death and you face these stakes, you realize that life is an infinite game and that the rules can change and that the only thing you control is yourself and those around you. And so when you have the mindset that everything is on you, you're not going to step over a piece of trash in the locker room. You're not going to not pick up a ground ball. Nothing's below you and nothing is above you. Everything is through you. And when you all have that mantra, man, I tell you what, that's an unstoppable entity. Save who needs to be saved. In the military and the Army specifically, we say mission first, people always. Mission first, people always. That's a really clear way to say, like, the mission of the team is always first. It's always there. And people are always part of this mission. So amidst chaos, amidst crisis, people look for the helpers. People look to see who's calm. People look to see who has the answers. I submit to you, you're all learning this. You are all becoming initiated. You are all seeing with different eyes and hearing with different ears. Be the person in the time of need who knows how to save somebody. Be the person that knows what his teammate is going through and he knows how to save them. Be the person who is prepared enough to know that you're taken care of, you're good, you're full, you've prepared yourself, and that you now have abundance to help your teammates, that you can save someone else. You've put your own oxygen mask on first, Roger, and now you're able to move forward and help the people next to you. Be the calm helper. Calm is contagious, gentlemen. Leads into kill what needs to be killed. This speaks to out of the mindset of going into the shoot house to find a bad person. Kill what needs to be killed is more applicable to where you guys are. This is your permission. This is your call. This is your mantra. This is your call to action to kill the negative relationships and the negative energy and the negative shit that may be in your life right now. Block it out. This means get rid of the toxic relationships. This means getting rid of negative self-talk. This means getting rid of self-doubt. This means your opponents, like someone said, they're not going to come on the field and just lay down. You have to go put them down, right? With integrity and honor and safely, but you're going to put them down violently with aggression, right? Controlled rage, because you know that's what needs to happen. You know when you step on that field, it's fucking game time, and that you're going to walk off the field as victors. Carrying each other or arm in arm, it doesn't matter. You're walking off that field as fucking victors together. No one is coming to save you. Like you guys already said, with that in mind, you know that no, help isn't coming. It's on you. It's on you to have the answers. It's on you to be prepared. It's on you to have the mindset and the presence of mind to know what needs to be done. In combat, we carry our own medical kit. So we know if we get hit and we go down, we know that no one's coming to save you. Like Ben said in the video, bleeding out on the desert floor, he knew his job was to stay alive. His job is all he needed to do was stay alive. And when his team got to him, he was already messing with his medical kit to put on his medical kit. But he didn't have fingers left, he didn't have a forearm left, and he had no legs. So he couldn't physically do it, but yet he was still going through motions because that's what he was trained to do. And so when his teammates got to him, they saved him. But he kept himself alive long enough to be saved. Be savable, gentlemen. Be savable. Always be working at this. Always be working on your craft. On the field, off the field. Just like you guys said in your small groups. Hey, this stuff applies to the field, but also applies to when I was failing a class. It also applies to when I needed extra help. It also applied when I was doing something off the field. You're always working at this. You're always building your own legacy, but you're also building your team's legacy. You're building what it means to be an ONU player, what it means to have this 12-hour culture, what it means to be a polar bear. And I'll say it in a different way. The Ranger Creed, it's something I live my life by. The Ranger Creed is, they say it's a way of life. Once you learn it, you don't unlearn it. You don't unlive it. And so the Ranger Creed states, never shall I fail my comrades. I will always keep myself mentally alert, physically strong, and morally straight. And I will shoulder more than my share of the task, whatever it may be, 100% and then some. Do you wait to be told what to do, or do you just do what needs to be done? Do you just show up, or do you show up with presence and vengeance to go get it done? Are you sitting there waiting, or are you showing initiative to go get after it? These are things, gentlemen, that are in your control. These 5 rules, they're yours. They're not mine. I don't claim ownership to them. They're yours now. They're yours to create, to change, to use as a structure. But you understand, when you take those 5 rules, those principles, those 5 mantras, I call it a self-licking ice cream cone, okay? Because the thing licks itself. As it melts, man, the thing's licking. And if that self-licking ice cream cone could be a pretty violent machine, or it could be a championship team. And at the end of the day, what you all captured, and that's the most important thing, which is why it just like fills me up with so much fire, is that you will understand that these rules, these principles, it all comes together. And it makes you prepared to be part of a team. And when you're part of a team, you fight. And you understand that culture is a team fight. And when you show up together, you're going to win together. And that no matter what happens, you have each other. And that's powerful stuff. So we look at the key takeaways here, and I'm going to hand it over to Alexis to roll over and talk about. Again, you guys fire me up in a great way.
Yeah, so one of my favorite things about the 5 rules and why they're there is for chaos. Like, is for when you're in the moment and you're like, I don't know what to do with myself. There's just so much right now. Overwhelm. You know, you get 3 assignments for class, a project, a test, an exam. You know, all that. You know, somebody at home is sick, and you've got to still perform for your team. You know, following and falling into these 5 rules, especially always be working. You know, at the end of the day, when you're like, you know, overwhelmed and don't know where to start, just start working on something. And the more teammates you let know about this stuff, the better off the whole thing's going to be. So rules help us in the fog of war. You'll see that in the guide as well, that guidebook. Adversity and forging strong bonds. This is like the moments that we do it. Like when we get to spend some time together here. Battle drills, you know, again, they'll be in the guidebook for you guys to fill out even more, but really kind of engaging with those, making sure that they're like, you know, the things that you just do. Training for chaos, also, like we mentioned, like you just develop these new thresholds so that you are the calm helper. Culture is a team fight. You're going to continue to hear that from us because we believe it. And culture compels us to do heroic things and heroic things for each other. You know, this group, we approach this whole presentation tonight with you guys differently than we've done it with, you know, any other person, or just shared the 5 rules with anybody, because we just feel like it's such a close-knit group despite you guys having all these challenges in front of you. And how you executed with your COVID test today, I don't know if it's today actually, but how you executed when you're in your squad groups to get that completed and get it to coach and get that all taken care of, like that's pride. That's pride in how you activated and how you executed. And the other thing that I'll say here is, like, Eric talks about the locker room and stuff like that, and we know that this year the locker room is going to have a different feel and a completely possibly different environment, and who knows if it'll change as the season goes, but we'll challenge you guys to start thinking about what a locker room might really be. You know, the initiative that we have to not wait to figure out what that might be. Like, let's say there isn't a locker room that's a physical space. What can we do to figure out a better way to, you know, just be a different team altogether? So I'll put that out there for you guys. Win together, lose together. So we'll do some Q&A, and like last week, we'll stay after if there's anybody that wants to talk on the side, but please, like, the more you share in front of the group, the better. So we'll just, you know, do the raise hand thing if anybody has anything to share or ask questions about, even if it's like, hey, how do I talk to a veteran?
As you guys gather your thoughts there, I know the first platoon mentality is something that it may resonate with you all, and you know, you want to be part of the first platoon thing and not part of the second platoon thing. And you saw last week by way of the video and expressions, and that's as raw as it gets. And I shared some things with you guys that was pretty raw and emotional, and I don't regret a single thing of it, right? Because this group I trust, and that's where I want to be. So with this and where you're at in this mentality that you want to develop and cultivate, right? It matters. These things matter, and it's cool to care. That's what matters, right? So speaking up and taking ownership and being a part of that, those are the small steps that make the big difference in the end. And in that guidebook, that's where I was going with that, excuse me. So in that guidebook, we know right now we hit you with a lot of things. And people may not want to raise hands and talk in front of the group, and we respect that for now a little bit. We want participation because that's where the magic is. But in these guidebooks, we've dropped on you guys. There's a lot there, right? And there's a lot there to write and reflect. There's magic that happens when you write and you reflect your thoughts out. And then when you take those thoughts, and if you ask your buddy, you know, hey, what'd you think about this? Whether it's the 5 rules or what culture means to you or what you want to get out of your season, look at the questions in the guidebook, because a lot of energy went into that. Those are the things that are compelling. Those are the things that drive you. Those are the things that you're thinking about in the shower or on the 5th rep, or as you're going to sleep at night, or when you first wake up. right? Those little magic moments of time, guys, I challenge you and beg of you, capture those moments and capture those thoughts. Whether you share them with the group would be great, but if you keep them to yourself, that's fine too. But capture the magic that's going to take place. Because like Alexis said, this is a training experience. I don't give a shit about Zoom and Zoom fatigue and all that stuff. What we're doing and how we're doing it is different. And you guys are going to receive the benefit of that. And I just want to make sure you're empowered to capture that benefit, because we're not going to be with you when the chips are down. I hope to be on your sideline. I swear to God, I do. Right? I hope we're right there with you. Hope we're in the locker room with you. And when we can, we will be. Okay? I'll tell you that right now. When we can, we will be. But until then, and short of that, this is on you guys to own. And I mean, we're only in week 2, but I want you to win like with every fiber of my being right now, whether it's a one and only scrimmage game or it's through conference championships. Like I have this burning desire right now to like take my broken body to strap it up and just practice with you guys and do something.
I've got a gray polar bear here looking for some action.
150-pound mastiff. So
Eric's dog.
any I didn't see any hands up for a question right now, which is just fine. Respect that. Had a minute here. So I'll also say as we close, there's our social media stuff. I know a number of you have already kind of connected with us. We appreciate that. Also share right here.
Oh yeah.
Lacrosse Playground. Yeah, we're both repping it today. Lacrosse Playground, I think was kind of before some of your times, but that was like the barstool sports of lacrosse back in the day. And Epic Lacrosse. I know you guys know Epic, and I know you guys have the shafts and you got the gear, right? There's that's for Epic, not Eric, not yet at least. So they just relaunched Lacrosse Playground in a really badass way. So they're going to have podcasts, they're going to have media, they're going to have tournaments, they're going to have a lot of stuff that's going to take over lacrosse world. So you guys heard it here first. You see we're repping the swag, replay, relax, Lacrosse Playground. Check them out on social media. More is coming, and I'll also share that Alexis and I were asked to host a podcast on my platform as well. So I share that because we're going to talk about you guys. And I say that not to embarrass you or to just put additional pressure on you, but I'm proud of you already, right? I'm proud of you. And you guys have embraced us like one of your own, and that doesn't go unnoticed. So when the chance comes to talk about what the Polar Bears mean and who they are and what ONU is about, and I'm telling you right now, we're going to be proud to tell your story and to shine a bright light on this dark spot that you think you're all in.
So John has a Q&A moment. So let's hop over for there. And no more like nobody knows about ONU, because we'll definitely shine a light on that. Hey, John, how's it going?
Good. I just had a quick question for you guys. Eric, you were talking about in your 5 rules, kind of like blocking out the negative noise and like the toxic relationships that can be around you. I was just wondering if you had like any tips for us to like kind of deal with that, because I feel like sometimes it can just be like so around you even when you don't want it to be around you. Like for me, when I'm at work, I always have like people coming up to me and being like, why'd you go back for a 5th year? Like it's looking like you're not going to have a season, and kind of just these like negative thoughts are constantly coming at you even when you're like not even trying to like bring them to you. So I was just wondering if you had any tips for like dealing with situations like that.
Dude, you just asked probably one of the most insightful questions that can be asked regarding negative biases and negative talk. So I'll break that up into 2 ways. One is the environment around you, and one is like the negative self-talk. So I'll start with kind of yourself. I am a big believer of mantras and having little expressions to tell myself. So I'll share a couple of them, right? Vulnerability is invincibility. It took me a little bit to understand what that means. And it took a lot as a man and as an alpha, right? As this airborne ranger, as this like tough person, to be vulnerable, to understand what vulnerability means and what it is. And what it means is, to me, is you take your ego and you fuck it off, right? And the thing that has you too prideful or too good to do something, and you just set that aside. And if you think of, hopefully this analogy will work. If you've all seen the movie 8 Mile with Eminem, yeah, most of you. John, have you? So you asked the question, I want to answer you. Have you seen that movie? Okay. You know, at the end when he raps about himself and he basically like talks about himself and the dude has nothing to say and he won the battle, right? That's an example of vulnerability and invincibility. So if I put myself on display and I'm like, you can't kill me. Nothing you can do can put me down. That's an empowering mentality that starts to manifest itself. So finding a mantra, right? So my mantra right now is happiness, openness, and opportunity. And so my brain goes 10 miles a minute. And when I go to put myself to sleep at night, unless I've exhausted myself that day, like my brain is still going. It doesn't ever stop. And it's maddening in a sense. So just through some meditation and some quiet, deliberate breathing, which we're going to go over next week with you guys, some breathing techniques and how to like center yourself and how to calm those things down, we're going to get next week. But until then, having a mantra, having something you can say to yourself. I don't mean to get religious or spiritual, but if you guys are religious or spiritual and you have a prayer or something that you know, something greater than yourself, you can lift up that kind of spirit or that thought. That's another way. Bringing it to the things around you and the people around. Alexis, what do you got?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was scratching my face there, but I know. No, I was. You're right. I actually wanted to just pop in because Keith has something to share because he comes from a master resilience course trainer, and I think he's got some really great stuff to share too. So Keith, you want to hop on?
Yeah, thank you, Alexis.
Yeah.
So John, so in the military, obviously we range from 17-year-olds all the way up to 40-year-olds coming in the military. Everyone has a wide, different variety of a mental capacity that allows them to deal with things in their lives. The military allows you to enhance that through basic training, AIT, Ranger School, all right, combat tours. Some people rise in those occasions and become more resilient. Some people fall in those occasions. It's the same thing in sports and every other aspect you can come across in life where you are mentally challenged. Resiliency is your ability to basically bounce back from any of the negativity things, words, actions, events that happen in your life. So think of it like a tennis ball. No matter what you throw that tennis ball at, it's going to come right back to you, all right, as a resiliency standpoint. And what I'm getting around to saying is we use a terminology called hunt the good stuff, which means anytime something negative is going on in your life, be it your thoughts, the people around you, an event that's happening, you have to stop for that moment when you're in that space, take a breath, and think about something good or positive in your life. It might be one thing, but that might be the only one thing you need to push you forward. It could be several things. It could be something as simple as family, knowing that you're currently alive, okay? The friends or players that are currently around you. But it's something you mentally have to go through on a daily basis, especially when that negativity is around you, all right?
That's great.
That's it, Alexis.
Thanks, man. That's so good. Cameron, what you got?
Oh yeah, Eric, when you were saying like your mantras that you kind of go by, like how did you come up with those, or did you like find them through someone else kind of saying them and they kind of stuck with you, or how did that happen?
Great question. So I looked at, having a mantra was introduced to me, saying like, hey, you know, it's just a nice reset. It's a nice way to bring yourself back to center. So my first mantra was passion, compassion, and presence, because those three, and I use 3 words because 3 words is very simple. It's very easy. It's very, you know, it's how the brain works also. And those 3 words, again, it was just a way to center myself and more importantly, kind of quiet the mind. And that was a mantra I was able to feed the monkey mind, the busy mind. That's always, hey, you didn't do this, or hey, you're not good enough for that, or any of those things that jump in there. Boop, boop. One, I'm aware that that's happening. And if you're aware that that self-talk or that negative stuff is happening, right, that's a win right there. Like that's success right there. If you could recognize and identify like, shit, like this person's negative or that's kind of negative as a thought right there, like touchdown, you won, right? That's success. Now taking that a step forward, the mantra to me, I chose those mantras because that's just where I was at in time. And so for me, the passion, compassion, presence, that was something that the passion, I'm a very passionate, energetic person. And so I need to be reminded of that the funk that I was in, where I was at, it just wasn't me. And that was my first cue. Like, this is who you are. And then it was compassion for like, be patient and gentle to the world around you. And then the last one, present, it's like, be right here. I'm not worried about a week or a year from now, or like what happened yesterday. And so that was a way for me to just say like, this is where I'm at and to move that thing forward. Does that answer the question?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, that's a great question. And the mantra, it could be anything, I'm here now, like be here now, peace be me, like breathe more, like any number of things that just brings you to a center point matters. So
these are all these are all parts of that like collection of skills. It's like you've got your lacrosse skills. We talk about the collection of skills that make you a protector of yourself and your teammates and all that culture and all of it. So having mantras and having some spirituality or whatever you need to continue to drive yourself forward is helpful. Hey, Brian, how about you?
Yeah, I know you guys talked a lot about like vulnerability. Like what's a good way or like a couple things like how do you promote vulnerability like within a group or within yourselves while also like respecting other people's boundaries in space?
I'll jump in. I'll jump in first real quick. Because Eric always talks about this, and I'm just going to serve him up a little differently first. Something that we rely on a lot is like offering up your own vulnerability as the example. And that's what Eric does in session 1, just off the bat, just lay himself out there in a really vulnerable position for you guys to know, like, hey, this is a safe space. Whatever you have to share with us, like, I'm sharing part of my ugly world as well, or my difficulties, or whatever it is that you have going on. So, Eric, sorry to jump on your toes there, but I just wanted to jump in and offer that.
There's no jumping anything with your mindset and what you see. That's exactly it. It's when you offer yourself and you offer that piece, whatever that vulnerability is. I mean, you guys saw me last week, right? Like how to take a pause to like catch my breath. Take a sip of water to compose myself, right? Those things happen. I didn't plan for that to happen. And I knew going into that space and going into that story and sharing with this group that could happen. And so that's why that story is not told to everyone. And it's not told in depth to that degree because that's not always appropriate. And so when is it time and place and appropriate, and really modeling that and sharing those boundaries with where you're at and where your teammates are at. And so just scratching that a little bit further, pushing the boundaries of discomfort and finding comfort being uncomfortable that's a constant state right there. And when you're in this constant state of unease, it doesn't mean you need to be in a dangerous position and full of anxiety, because that's not good. But if you're pushing yourself to constantly be growing, that's like you work out, right? So let's say you're supposed to do a 3 rep max or let's see a 12 rep max. Like on rep 11 or 12, when it's burning, that's when you know the growth is happening, right? On rep 14, when you're failing, you're dropping the bar in your chest and your buddy's helping you. Like that's vulnerability. And if you're able to like go to muscle failure there and to fail with that weight, where else can you apply that in your life safely, right? Benching that, like you need a buddy. You need a buddy there. So you're not going to assume that risk without having your ranger buddy there, right? So that's why I share like this team culture is a team fight. Like when you're vulnerable and you have each other, like that's when the magic can happen. Like the story I told last week, that's not a successful story. That's like, it may have sounded successful. Like what I did was not successful. The things that I did and the choices I made, like almost left me dead in a ditch, right? Talk about intense vulnerability. There's nothing more vulnerable than that. But my team knew something wasn't right. And so they acted in a way to allow me to save myself. So when you have this vulnerability for yourself, but then you have this trust around you, and the trust is 60 other teammates who are thinking generally the same way. You all think differently, but like you have one mission. It's 12R.
Mm-hmm.
But when you all can be vulnerable and trust each other, and you all can assume a little more risk, and you guys can just go a little bit more for each other, and you know you'll catch each other and not fuck each other, man, that's where magic happens. Does that answer the question, Brian? Which is a really good question.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Tyler, got you over there too.
Hey, Eric, just back to your point, you said your mind races like a million miles an hour or whatever. I was wondering, have you found a way to kind of quiet your mind? Like, let's for say, like humans, like we have a lot of stuff going on, and being in college, you know, I got school, athletics, and just like everything going on with COVID. Like, how have you found a way to be in the present moment and kind of just zero in and block all that outside noise out?
Oh, I can't wait for next week.
Killer question.
Thanks, CC.
So,
Can handle that.
So it's how you prepare yourself, and how you prepare yourself for the day starts the day before. It starts the night before with like, you know, lining up your day and looking at your day and what you want to accomplish, and knowing like, okay, I need to attack tomorrow with X, Y, Z. And so for me, if my brain knows I have an attack plan and I have something to go attack, that's good. That's put aside. So when I wake up for that day, the first thing I do, and this is part of my battle drill, and I'll share it with you guys, maybe silly, but fuck it. This is where we're at. So first thing I do when I wake up, take a few deep breaths. Sometimes I find myself breathing heavy, like when I wake up, and that may be an indication of a bad dream or something else. So that's the first indication of like where I'm at. And then it may be silly, but while I'm laying in bed, man, I throw my hands up in a touchdown, because one, it feels good. And two, it's just like a universal sign of like, this is winning, right? So it's a winning victory. It's a winning sign. And it's a physical sign for me, like, dude, touchdown. I'm alive. I'm alive. And for where I've been and what I've been through, waking up alive is the first victory of my day. And I'm truly like happy with that. The fact that I can breathe and move on my own cognition is a gift to me. Stepping forward, after I throw my hands up, I take a few deep breaths. I immediately go to gratitude and the things I'm thankful for. I'm thankful that I'm laying in a bed. I'm thankful I literally have a roof over my head. I'm not being rained on. I'm not exposed in the cold weather. I'm not being shot at. I'm not hungry, right? Or if I'm hungry, I have food downstairs. Like my kids are sleeping in their beds. That right there, like my kids are in my own, they're here. I can go hug them if I need to. They're both healthy. I'm healthy. My wife is healthy, right? My dog is here. Tiny little things of gratitude, the things I'm thankful for, then starts getting my day aligned with empowerment and like all this good energy in my mind. Instead of thinking all the things I need to do, it's like I already have an attack plan for that. And any other things that may bubble up, or like, oh, I need to do this, or it's the morning, or I'm already energized with like things I'm thankful and happy for, and the gratitude is expressed, and my body's already primed of like touchdown, right? You all score a goal, do something, like everyone's hands are always going up. So those little things in preparation allows me to have my mind satisfied, knowing that there's a plan or that I've given it some thought, and that's where it needs to be. The other piece, dude, I write and I take notes and I take notes and I take notes and I write things down a lot. And I realized just personally that when I feel like this like fog or like clogged up, it's because I didn't write anything. I didn't get my thoughts out. I didn't express it. So whatever your creative outlet is and getting those thoughts and those feelings out of you, when you're journaling how you feel every day, dude, that's spot on. Journaling what you did for the day, hey, that's great. Writing down what you want to do for tomorrow, now you're cooking. right? Now do some breathing, some other things. Now, dude, you're unfucking stoppable.
I'll add a little point, and if Keith, I'm not sure if you have anything too, but I'll just add that I heard a great quote that is somebody that Eric and we both like kind of do some like kind of just mental and emotional kind of like practices. One of the quotes that I heard from it was, the mind makes a great servant, but a terrible master. So like allow your, like it takes you controlling your mind to allow like the shutting out of things, or whether you're going to let the monkey mind take hold of you, because it will never stop. So allowing that stuff to just get, you notice it, you clear it out, you be in your present moment and where you are, right in, like Coach always says, like be right where your feet are. And Keith, did you have anything to share on that? Or are you good?
Well, I mean, I didn't want to talk too much into it because I know CC is going to get into the breathing techniques, but along with being resilient, another obviously great technique is when you start your day or you have those moments where you might be feeling like your thoughts are just chaotic and you can't focus. Take that time to find that quiet moment, all right? That 5 minutes somewhere where you can have some kind of peace. It might not be somewhere where you can stop the outside noise, but if you know you guys are technology savvy, you got your little earbuds and all that good stuff, some peaceful sound that can allow you to just sit in quiet to gather your thoughts and just kind of focus on your breathing for a little minute. Just deep breaths in, deep breaths out. 5 or 6 minutes amazingly can make you feel completely relaxed and refocused. So just take that time to just quiet your mind.
All right, that's awesome. So if anyone else has a question, we're going to be here after. We'll let the majority go and just have a great night. I hope that you guys feel good about each other, like connecting with each other tonight. Hope this was a good decision for us to have those breakouts. If you want to give us feedback, we're definitely open for it. So otherwise, we'll say good night, goodbye, have a great rest of your week, and we're always here for you.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
you.
Thank you.